In recovery from either anorexia or bulimia, you may be kind of forced into eating certain foods or certain things. And a lot of people ask me, why do I have to do that? And we're going to talk about that today. But first, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm Long Island's eating disorder specialist. If you are interested in learning about eating disorders or body image issues or just general mental health, I post on this channel 3 times a week. Please consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button down below. I also have an Instagram and a weekly blog. I will leave those links in the description below. All right, so this is a question I've heard often. Why am I being forced to eat certain things in eating disorder recovery, especially if you're in a treatment center or under the care of a nutritionist? So I'm not going to talk so much about the medical end of it. That's something more a nutritionist or a medical doctor would do, of course, including discussions about needing variety in your diet and all of those types of things. But I'm going to talk about it from the mental health perspective because obviously that's what I do and that's where I come in. So it definitely is uncomfortable when you are forced to eat things that you don't really want to, or obviously no one can really force you to do anything, but in some way you're kind of feeling forced. So why is that? And you may say that I genuinely don't like this particular food. I really don't want it. And that's understandable, but sometimes this is what really happens. Your eating disorder can morph perceptions for you, and it does morph perceptions for you. So we need to, in eating disorder recovery, and it's usually the work of a nutritionist, but also the therapist in trying to deal with the feelings that come up, we need to introduce new foods into your meal plan or into your eating, as well as reintroducing fear foods into your diet. And by diet, I mean what you eat typically. I know that that's a terrible word for it, but there's really not one that perfectly is equivalent for it. So if you guys have a different plan or a different word, please leave that in the comment section down below. But we need to start reintroducing these foods or introducing new foods into your diet. And why is that? Well, if you're in an eating disorder and early on in recovery, your eating disorder still really is calling the shots. And from a mental health perspective, that is no good. That is something that we want to minimize and ultimately eliminate at one point in time. So if you are continuing to eat only the things that you've eaten in your recovery, in your eating disorder, yes, you may be eating more or you may be eating more balanced or whatever, but if you still stick with the strict things that you have deemed as okay to eat, that's your eating disorder winning as opposed to your healthy self winning. I posted a video not too long ago about comfort zones. The thing with comfort zones is if you are not expanding it, it is by nature dwindling. And it's the same thing when it comes to this. If your palate, if you're not increasing the types of foods that you're eating, what's going to happen is that your safe foods will dwindle, and ultimately you're not going to have much variety, and that's not healthy for physically or mentally. So as I said before, your eating disorder really morphs perceptions a lot of times. So you might feel that there's a food that now you just really don't like, or maybe that there's a food you genuinely don't like, but it's because of your eating disorder that you don't like it. And this may look like, for instance, maybe it's pizza. So you used to love pizza, and at some point then all of a sudden it seemed like your palate totally changed and you don't like pizza anymore. Meanwhile, it might be that you still really would enjoy pizza if it weren't for the eating disorder, but the eating disorder has somehow tried to taint that perception of pizza for you. So now you're interpreting it as I really don't like it, or it's really kind of gross or whatever. But it probably would be something you would enjoy again. And it's something that we want to reintroduce and have you be able to have and enjoy it again. And it really doesn't work by listening to what the eating disorder, we don't want the eating disorder to call the shots. That is not helpful for anyone. And just to play devil's advocate for a second, when you are in life, in normal life, there are going to be times that you're going to have to eat things that maybe aren't the best enjoyable, the most enjoyable thing for you. Let's say if you are just like running all day and like you're really hungry and you need to get something to eat, but your options are limited, you might just have to find something that's just going to do the job and not going to be the thing that you savor like extraordinarily or anything like that. Or maybe you're at a friend's house or in-laws house and they've made something and you're just not a fan, but what are you going to do? You don't want to be rude, so you're going to eat it. And an eating disorder can really have a field day with those types of things because it likes to, and this is something that I've talked about, I think on my blog, not so much on this channel, but I can talk about it if you'd like, leave a comment if you'd like to do that, about fear of missed eating experiences. That if you have an eating experience, meaning like a meal or a snack, and that it just didn't go the way you anticipated, maybe you had your mind set on this particular restaurant and you got there, it was closed for renovations. That could completely throw off yourself and make your eating disorder run rampant, and then you have something that you really weren't in the mood for, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, I just consumed all of those calories and I didn't even enjoy it, and that creates anxiety, and it's just like a whole poop show, for lack of a better word, or lack of the ability to say the better word. The goal with eating disorder recovery is that we want to get you to the place that you can live normal life. And normal life entails, sometimes having things that don't go your way, and you kind of have to eat things that maybe aren't the best, most enjoyable for you. This type of stuff happens. But also, we want you to get to the place where you're able to enjoy the foods that you were once able to enjoy, and maybe even find new foods that you could enjoy. And this is part of life, and recovery is going to get you to that point. So when you're getting mad, maybe at your doctors or your nutritionist or whatever residential professionals are there, if you are getting upset with them for forcing you to eat certain things, try to remember that this is something, at the very least, even if you don't end up really enjoying it, it's challenging your eating disorder, and it definitely is moving you forward in recovery. It might be agitating and it might be irritating, and that's normal, but it is propelling you forward. So if nothing else, remember that. And on the positive side, possibly you'll find foods that you really end up enjoying that you never decided to try before, or that you'll start to love the foods you once did. That could be also what happens as well. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have any tips for a person going through this in recovery. You can click my face over here to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you openness to new foods on your journey to finding your state of balance. I'll see you in my next video.